Fisherman is back at it again. Let's do it. I Still Know What You Did Last Summer picks up a year after the events of the last movie, and we're still following Julie, who is in college. She's trying to get over the trauma of the events that happened to her last summer. She's still mourning the loss of her friends, and she's having a lot of nightmares about the fisherman. Julie is still dating Ray, but their relationship is a little bit rocky because he still lives and works in their hometown, and Julie is trying to get away from there. Julie has a roommate named Carla who one day gets this call from a radio station asking her if you can name the capital of Brazil, you get a free vacation. Carla and Julie say the answer is Rio, and the radio host is like, "You're right, you just won a vacation for 4 to the Bahamas." Julie calls Ray to ask him to go with her, and he's like, "I can't, I have to work." So after he says no, Ray's coworker goes to him and is like, "Are you fucking insane? Like, you have to go." And Ray reveals to his coworker that he has a ring for Julie, and he's like, okay, this would actually be the perfect time to propose to her. So his coworker drives Ray to Boston to go surprise Julie and go with her when suddenly they see a body in the middle of the road. When Ray goes to investigate, he finds that the body is actually a mannequin, and he watches as the fisherman proceeds to kill his coworker who is still in the car and then attacks Ray. Ray manages to escape and is knocked unconscious and ends up in the hospital. Next morning, Julie's waiting, thinking that Ray still might show up. Obviously, she has no idea what happened. But instead, Carla's boyfriend Tyrell shows up with their friend Will. Now, we've seen that Will obviously has a crush on Julie, and Carla is trying to convince her to leave Ray for Will. Julie's kind of pissed that he's coming, but ultimately, what else is she gonna do? They go, and they end up getting to the Bahamas and checking into their hotel. They meet the hotel manager, Mr. Brooks, who tells them that it's actually storm season, so the hotel is completely empty except for them and a few employees. They end up getting put in honeymoon suites, which they're surprised to hear never really get used. Meanwhile, we see that Ray has woken up in the hospital and he's trying to tell the cops about his coworker being murdered, but they don't believe him. So he ends up escaping from the hospital because he realizes that Julie's in trouble and I need to go save her. Back at the resort, the 4 of them are trying to make the best of it, and they decide to sing karaoke. And as Julie is singing karaoke, she sees the words, "I still know what you did last summer," come across the prompter. She runs back to her room, and Will decides that this is a great time to follow her and try to give her flowers and tell her how much he likes her. Meanwhile, we see that the fisherman has made it onto the island because we watch him murder a boat hand out on the dock. He also murders the housekeeper in the hotel. That night, while the rest of the group is out at the hot tub, Julie realizes that her toothbrush is missing and she goes to search the room, and in the closet, she finds the dead body of the boat hand. She obviously freaks the fuck out and goes to tell everybody, but when they search her room, the body's gone. And Mr. Brooks thinks that they're all just playing a prank. We also see this other employee, who is this white wannabe Rastafarian guy played by Jack Black, get murdered by the fisherman. This whole time, Ray has been trying to get to the island, but because of this impending storm that's heading towards it, nobody will take him out. So he resorts to holding somebody at gunpoint, which works, and he gets a boat and sets out for the island. Nobody in the group believes that there's actually a killer there trying to attack them until the next morning. The killer locks Julie in a tanning bed and then attacks the others. The others manage to save Julie, and they find the bodies of all the employees, including Mr. Brooks. They know that there is still one other employee on the island, that being this guy who brought them there via boat. But when they get to his room, they see that he has all this voodoo ritual stuff everywhere, and he has Julie's toothbrush and items from the others as well. So they immediately get suspicious of him and think that he's been doing voodoo against them, but he shows up and tells them, "I actually have been doing this to protect you." He knew he had to do that when they arrived on the island and told them that they answered the capital of Brazil correctly, it's Rio. Because he's like, "It's not Rio, you fucking idiots, so somebody obviously lied to get you here," and posed it as this is something you won through a radio contest. And that's when he tells them about Ben Willis. So of course we know Ben Willis was the fisherman in the last movie who didn't really die. He informs the group that Ben Willis was previously an employee at this hotel and he had a wife and kids. Ben found out his wife was having an affair and murdered her in the honeymoon suite, which is why nobody ever stays there. The porter goes to get a boat ready so they can all escape the island, and then suddenly he just disappears and he never comes back. Will volunteers to go look for him while the other 3 go back to the hotel. At the hotel, they find Nancy, who's the bartender, hiding, so she's been alive this whole time too. And as they're all hiding, Tyrell is like, "Guys, I don't think we need to hide, I think we're safe," and he is promptly killed by the fisherman. The other girls run, and this chase scene ensues between Carla and the fisherman, but ultimately she's able to escape and the other girls save her. Suddenly, Will bursts in, bleeding, saying that the porter attacked him on the beach. So Julie stays with Will as Nancy and Carla go to try and find a first aid kit, but instead they find the porter impaled by a harpoon. Then the fisherman shows up and kills Nancy and attacks Carla again. Now Julie is trying to tend to Will and realizes, I can't find where this blood is coming from. And it's because it's not his blood. He's not wounded. And he turns to her and in the voice of the radio DJ that they got called from that day asks, what's your favorite radio station? He was the fucking host that lured them here and he killed the porter. So Will takes Julie outside in the pouring rain to a graveyard where his mother is buried and reveals to her he is Ben Willis's son. Then, of course, Ben appears as well, confirming that he's been behind this whole thing. Ben attacks Julie, but before he's able to kill her, Ray finally makes it. He shows up and he attacks Ben. A fight ensues between the two of them, and Ben goes to stab Ray, but Ray grabs Will and puts him in front of him like a human shield. So Ben stabs him and kills his own son instead. As he's distracted by this, Julie manages to shoot him multiple times, finally killing him. So Julie and Ray make it back to the hotel and they wait for the Coast Guard because Ray had called them on the way. They also find Carla, so she survived too. The three of them are rescued by the Coast Guard and finally make it off this fucking island. Some time has passed and we see that Ray and Julie have gotten married. They're living together. And while Ray is in the bathroom, Julie sits down on her bed and notices in the mirror that Ben Willis is underneath her bed and he drags her under and attacks her and the movie ends.